update. Chuma, obviously we had the knee looked at. It's going to be MCL. Really, we're going to take it week to week. I don't want to put an exact time frame on it, but we'll kind of see what this week brings us, and then kind of see how he feels as we go, and see when the next time he can get out to actually practice. Beecham, he sprained the other ankle, so really he's working through those. I think he's going to be okay to go on Wednesday for practice in a limited capacity. We'll probably really start kind of sticking to a certain schedule for him where Wednesdays are really limited, and then get him going Thursday and Friday in a limited capacity as well. Outside of that, we came out fairly decent. We should have some guys coming back to practice this week. We should have a chance with Warlow. We should have a really good chance with Darryl Roberts, and then Farley. We'll just kind of see how the week goes, but there's a small percentage that we could get him back towards the end of the week. So with that, any questions you guys have?
The first question, Rich from ESPN. Your line is now active.
Yeah, Adam, with regard to the way the defense has been playing the last few weeks, and Greg Williams and inserting a lot of different pieces, moving parts on defense, how has he been able to maintain the level of play? Is it more scheme? Is it more mindset? Or how would you characterize it?
I think that really the way that he started, way back in April, was creating the mindset that he wanted there on that side of the ball, and then implementing a lot of different schemes throughout the spring and training camp, and really it's a really good teaching method to where these guys get a huge part of the playbook and get to practice it through spring and training camp. So then when situations like what we've had lately is he's had a lot of different guys moving in and out, kind of some guys that were here but weren't necessarily starters at the time. Now they're being kind of put in positions to be starters. He's been able to kind of move around some of his things that he has in the playbook that maybe we weren't running so much earlier, and now these guys have heard that. So it's not brand new stuff to them, the things that he's doing. It just wasn't stuff that we were necessarily focused on, earlier in the season just because of different personnel. I think he's done a really good job of figuring out who he has, what they can do, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how to kind of operate, week to week, considering that he's had some moving pieces coming in and out. I do think the mindset that he does create on that side of the ball has been very beneficial to us, and those guys have been able to go out and play very good team defense.
Brian from the Post, your line is active.
Adam, we've talked plenty of times this year about how you've preached to the team to move on after a loss and turn the page quickly. What's your approach after a win? What's your message to them along those same lines?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really change for us because once we hit Wednesday, it's a new week, new team, a new focus for us. These guys have done a really good job of doing that so far. I think this last week was probably one of our better weeks of preparation, one of our better weeks of understanding what we needed to do as an entire football team. We knew the challenges we had going into this game, and we knew we had to play a really good game of complementary football with all three phases. I felt like the guys did a really good job of executing exactly what we talked about on Wednesday. They practiced that way. They did it on Sunday. We have to go back on Wednesday and do the same thing to where we get the plan on Wednesday, and then we practice it the entire week, and then we have to execute it. The biggest challenge we have this week is going on the road in a conference game against a team that has played, especially the last two games, have played down to the wire, and we're going to have to make sure that we're ready to go.
Manish, Daily News, your line is active.
Adam, we often talk about the plays that Sam makes, with his throws, but how impressed were you, especially in that second quarter, in terms of him throwing the ball away? I think there were three.
Him comes back, so him flipping to right, I feel like that was, he's done a great job in that area as far as just being ready to go on both sides, being able to get thrown in there and really do a good job of working with both Alex and Tom. And I think those three interior guys have done a really good job of communication, being on the same page, helping each other out, making sure that they're all using their help in the right spots.
Mark from the Post, your line is active.
Hey, Adam, obviously at 1-7, nobody want, your fans don't want to hear about, the injuries and the excuses or whatever you want to call things. But when you kind of assess what you've done the last 3 weeks, because a lot of players talked about during that stretch, talked about it takes time with a new system, new coaches, new players and whatnot for things to mesh a little bit. What tangible things are you seeing in the last 3 weeks that are showing that progress to you? And, as you kind of look at things, you're seeing visions of what you started, you saw in the first place that you could do here. But a really long question. Sorry about that.
I think offensively, really what you look at is we've stayed out of second and long. We've stayed out of third and long, which puts us in a position to kind of get that first down, second down, first down thing going, and third and manageable to where we can convert. Seems like our drives are longer. We're executing, multiple plays better than what we were earlier, less turnovers. We're doing like these little things right that, it was just one or two guys, every once in a while in a series that would kind of just throw the series off, and next thing you know, it's third and long and you're punting. Where I think now we're sustaining the drives, we're finding out a way to get in the end zone, we're getting points in some capacity. Defensively, I think, these guys, what they've done a really good job of, especially the last couple of weeks, is just playing good team defense, everybody being on the same page, everybody making sure that they're doing their job, which allows, the group to have success. I think it really just, at the end of the day, it comes down to these guys just staying on track, not getting frustrated. The result wasn't there. They knew they were getting better. There was a lot of moving pieces going on, so I'm sure that was not fun for any of those guys because every time they lined up, there might be a different guy next to them. So I think that these guys staying on track and just understanding what we were trying to tell them, how things were going. We were trying to explain to them, this is why we have to just stay on track. We got to be the same, win or lose. We just got to keep finding ways to get better. I just feel like guys did a good job of that each week, resetting, going out to practice, trying to find ways to get better, practicing hard, playing hard in the games. They did a good job of just sticking with it, and in the last 3 weeks, they've kind of seen the benefit of them doing that.
Matt from NJ Advanced Media, your line is now active.
Yeah, Adam, kind of a two-parter here. First, just how impressed have you been with Arthur Millette and Bless Austin and their ability to kind of anchor those cornerback spots for you, which had been a little bit of an issue at this point in the year? And secondly, when Darryl Roberts comes back, whether it's this week or next week, whenever it happens, do you anticipate him slotting right back into the starting rotation, or is he going to have to kind of fight for a spot now that those two guys have shown something?
Yeah, I think as far as Darryl goes, I look at it like this: let's get him back out of practice and let him have a good week. And that's one of those problems where we'll worry about when we get there. Things have been a little unpredictable throughout the year, so I'm hoping for a good week of practice for him, so he feels good and he's ready to go. As far as Bless and Arthur go, those two guys have brought great juice. They've learned each week, through mistakes, through good things, through watching other guys, of kind of, how to operate, how to do things within a game, how to fix things during a game. I think their energy level is off the charts. Those guys are, you can tell they're excited to be out there. They whatever they have, they give it. They're flying around. They're involved in the run game. They're tackling. They're trying to stay as tight as possible. When they're in some kind of zone, they're trying to do a good job of rerouting and then dropping into their zone and being in the right spot and being able to work with those other guys. So I look at it as if once Darryl gets back, that's going to be a positive thing for us because that's another guy that we have in that secondary that's played, that's done a lot of good things for us, and that can definitely help us.
Kim from NFL Network, your line is active.
Hi, Adam. Unless I'm mistaken, I think the team's better play and certainly winning began around the same time Christopher Johnson told the players you would definitely be back. And I'm just wondering, knowing that those things at least appear to be tied together, either what does that mean to you, or did you learn anything from your team in that regard over these last few weeks? It just seems like an important step this season.
Yeah, I just, that day that Christopher talked to those guys, I thought it was something that was good for our guys to hear. I mean, we do have a lot of young players that have not been through a lot of situations that get thrown at them in the NFL. I think him talking to the guys was just good for those guys to just focus on getting better, focus on a good day of practice. Let's put a good week together and go play a game and do everything we can to win it. And I think guys were able to do that. They just focused on that. They ignored all the outside noise. I think it was a good thing that, that happened, and guys were able to just kind of put their head down and go to work. It's hard for me to tell you how they felt about it. I guess I didn't really see a difference in how they prepared and practiced through that week. I thought guys did a good job of staying focused on what they had to do.
Brian from the Post. My apologies. Rich from ESPN, your line is active.
Yeah, Adam, this is obviously the first period of sustained success that you've had, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on the possibility. I mean, now you're facing an 0-11 team, and so there's always the danger of looking past it or taking it lightly. Or give me your mindset going into a game like this. Is there some fear factor because of a potential trap game?
Rich, I'm shocked you asked that question out of anybody. I would say this. Yeah, I would say this. When we get rolling on Wednesday, I expect our guys to be the same that they've been through the entire year, which is we have a new opponent on Wednesday. This is a different coaching staff. We have a lot to learn from all three phases as far as what their scheme's going to be, how we're going to play them. It's hard to win an NFL game. Record aside, every game is tough. I know it's hard for anybody to believe that, but it is. And especially when we're going to the Bengals stadium, we're traveling, we're on the road. They've played two teams, extremely tough, going to Oakland and then playing Pittsburgh at their place. Both those games were tight to the end. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough game for us. I mean, anytime you go on the road in the NFL, it's not easy.
Manish from the Daily News, your line is active. We will have this question and then one question before we end.
Adam, just getting back to Sam, being smart and throwing the ball away. How much is that a product of you hammering it home to do that, and how much do you think that's just something that comes with time and experience and learning, from his mistakes? And then, all that being said, what did you make of the pass, the 31-yarder to Robbie, in which he dropped it between the cornerback and the safety?
Well, I mean, really, it starts with, I think, his understanding of the offense as a whole, just knowing really, like we always say, like, know your outs. I think there was a couple times where his out wasn't there and the throwaway was the right throw. I think Dow's done a great job with kind of going through, when we're going through progressions of Dow hitting kind of those, all right, hey, if these type of things happen, the throwaway is the right play here. And just, I think that constant reinforcement between Dow and myself, and then him talking to us and doing a good job of being like, this is a throwaway, isn't it? And it's just that constant, knowing when the play was probably over for him. That being said, that the throw to Robbie was a unbelievable throw. I'm pretty sure the first thing out of my mouth to him was, can you please run that next time and just go get the first down and get down? And that was probably the safer play. And, I feel like, sometimes you see it different when everything's going really fast. And, to him, that window was was to him a lot bigger than probably what a lot of us felt. But, it was a great throw. It was a great play by Robbie. I think the safer play was pull it down, get the first down, and then we can reload. But, sometimes things look a little different from the quarterback position, and it was a really great throw.
Brian from the Post, your line is active.
Adam, a few weeks ago, Sam made the comment about the playoffs after the Giants game, and you told us you talked to him. After a 3-game winning streak at 4-7 now, there might be more players in your locker room thinking about a playoff run. What's your message to those guys, who are dreaming about the playoffs right now?
I think we just need to focus on this week. We got a long ways to go, and I've been in this spot quite a few times as far as with 5 games left, and everybody kind of starts talking about outside of this week, and that's when the wrong thing happens. So we need to stay focused on task at hand right now. Our guys will probably hear it enough this week that that's what we need to do. So I expect us to just worry about what we need to do this week. We need to go find a way to win a game.